This episode of the Camp Staff Podcast is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It is a free application, so all you have to do is download it on your phone or go to the website anchor.fm to get started. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will actually distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker Audio, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So if you don't have any people listening to you or listen to your podcast, or if you don't have anyone that likes you, you can still make money if at least one person does. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Anchor.fm. Download the App Store today.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Camp Staff Podcast. I'm your host David. Joined with me today is your other host Zach.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Camp Staff Podcast. I'm your host, Zach, also here with your host, David.
Why would you do that twice, Zach? Can you explain?
You know, the more times you do it, the better you get at it, you know?
That's fair. Practice makes perfect.
That is true. So, before we get when we get started, which is right now, we're going to introduce our guest for the episode. So I'm going to introduce the first guest out of two, which is a Camp Staff Podcast first, where we have two guests. Am I right, David?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to introduce our first guest right now. He is my first area director. He is Alex F.
Hello, friends.
Hi, Alex.
How you doing, man?
I am well. How are you doing, my former CIT?
I'm doing great. How about you, David?
I'm doing excellent, actually. Do you know who else might be
Awesome.
doing well?
Not Austin?
Not Austin. Well, our second guest, Oliver. Hi, Oliver.
Hi, what's up, everybody? I'm Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. First things first, and we're going to talk about Oliver. That actually sounds like a Disney show, like
Oliver?
a Disney XD show. Wasn't there
Yeah.
like a show called like Oliver Beaks or something like that?
I
Or was that
never-
Nickelodeon?
The only thing I can think about is like Oliver and Company, like where I was a cat,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I remember Oliver and Company.
Cats? Yeah.
No,
Please
not
don't get on a
Cats.
Cats the movie rant. Please do not. Please do not.
Like the prequel to Cats or something.
I
There's
can do like
prequel to Cats.
I can do like a 30-minute rant on the movie Cats itself. I literally drove an hour to see the movie.
Why would you
Drew.
drive an
Wow.
hour?
You know,
Take us through the mindset and the process of getting there to watch Cats, please.
so me and my friends, what we do is that we try to find the crappiest movies in theaters and watch it.
Mhm.
Like we saw the Emoji Movie in theaters. We saw Teen Titans Go the movie in theaters, and
I heard that was absolutely awful.
How bad actually was that? Was it like a skosh above garbage trash, or
so in my opinion, the Teen Titans Go movie, if you don't think about Teen Titans at all, is actually a pretty good movie. It's fun and funny.
okay? But if you have any pulse whatsoever, it's absolute garbage.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
This reminds me of like when we would like go and buy the VHS. And,
Yeah.
like Spy Kids 3D, like Hermie.
Oh my
watch it for,
goodness.
like 30 minutes.
I used to like Spy Kids 3D. I was actually like a kid when that came out.
Wait,
I
like
it, not for the right reason.
Spy Kids 3, the 3D version, or just Spy Kids
Yeah.
3D?
No, we had the DVD. I had the glasses, everything. The old red and blue 3D glasses.
Oh
they didn't
yeah,
even-
yeah.
yeah.
Bro, that movie
Dude.
scared me.
That's
As a kid.
That movie's hilarious. High res.
I'm the guy.
Then Frodo comes out.
It's like they put someone in there just as the guy, as like a filler,
Uh-huh.
and then they went and filmed it, and they were like, "Crap, we never changed his name." Okay.
The guy.
As the guy.
All right.
Ugh.
I like how that was like my first introduction to like a man falling in love with a computer. Oliver, you know all about that, man.
Yeah, of course.
His
That's my
waifu.
first love.
Your first
My-
waifu was
my
what
desktop
was her
computer.
name? I forgot her name in the movie.
I feel like it's like Natalie or something.
I feel like it's like
Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
we're talking about
We're
the
talking
girl
about-
from Spy Kids who ended up being like in the game that
Is it Valerie?
that Trudy
feel
fell in love with, and I always thought it was funny. I've always, Frodo was the guy.
This is what he really saw when he went into Mount Doom. He just like got transported to Spy Kids 3D.
There were so many cameos in that movie, guys. It is ridiculous. They had Machete, Danny Trejo.
hmm
They had Selma Hayek,
Oh my
and they had frickin' Sylvester Stallone. That movie had so many stars in it for no reason for the quality of that movie.
You know,
The CGI
It's a
was
classic.
insane.
it's a classic.
Yeah, but no
Well-
one talks about Spy Kids 4 all the time in the world.
I forgot that was a movie.
I didn't
s-
even know that existed.
I saw that in theaters.
Exactly.
Oh my-
most
Oh
people
my
don't know.
God.
It was so bad. They gave you like this sheet. It was a scratch and sniff sheet, and and there was like numbers on the screen, and then you saw the numbers. You scratched and sniff it, and it was just like a fart that you smelled. Every time it was just a fart. That's all I remembered.
This would solve like the gambling issue in the U.S. if they just made scratch offs smell like farts.
Dude, do you know how much money the Florida lottery makes just from random people?
It's insane.
$2.
Yeah, sometimes more, like 20.
I was close.
Or like a few million, but yeah.
Who's
You're
counting?
I don't understand why people like join the Powerball and stuff. You know, it
It's that 0.0000001% chance you'll win.
honestly like
Yeah.
I don't think the human brain can like fully understand how much 1 in 1 trillion is. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're more likely to get struck by lightning. I'm pretty sure.
you're
So-
more likely to like do a lot of things.
So let's transition to our first story that I have for you guys. It's actually related to Spy Kids 3 in a good way.
Uh-oh.
Oliver can describe this story also, if you want to join in.
Alright,
Um,
I don't really know what it is yet, but yeah.
So you'll understand in a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm sure.
So our second year as staff, Oliver and I, I worked at Scalcraft my second year, and my area director, his name was Danny. He was a vegan. Just gonna tell you that now. He
Okay.
was blonde and was a vegan. And we kept just bringing up Spy Kids 3 just because it was just a funny joke between us.
Mhm.
And then
Don't forget about
Yeah.
that group.
and then we just bet Danny like next time we go to Goodwill, which we usually did on our nights off, we'll find a copy of Spy Kids 3.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like Danny. He just couldn't believe it. He had to like pick his jaw up off the floor. He was just blown away. We
The
actually
best-
found a copy of Spy Kids 3. Do you know, I was kind of doubting it. But
I
when
was doubting it also.
I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, it was crazy.
And it's not like we found it on like DVD or anything. We found a VHS copy of it, and luckily there was a VCR at that Goodwill that was functioning.
It was like like $80 or something.
Yeah, it was like $8. Yeah, and I have and the next year I used the VCR. It literally just
remember you
smoke
bought it.
came out.
Then, oh yeah, then you like
Exploded.
threw it. At
It
the
was
ground.
thinking way too hard. You know.
I literally smashed it and bought a new one.
Shoot, that's worth $8 in itself.
Hey, it did its job.
It did its job.
Spy Kids 3 like 6 or 7 times.
Went out like
Yeah.
a champ.
It
Yeah.
did. It
Remember we
It's
watched the
beautiful.
it's like a crappy vampire movie we got from like Dollar
You
General.
mean Twilight?
No, it wasn't that.
uh,
Dude,
Oh,
Twilight
God.
sucked
Even
so
more on
bad.
that.
vampire. I remember Hermie,
Oh my.
which was like a Christian cartoon about
Yeah.
a
yeah.
caterpillar and his life. And there was
It's
this
badly animated. So.
yeah.
At least it's not a
It's a
vegetable.
gold
I mean,
mine. That movie's a gold mine.
There's 5 of those movies also.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I knew there was just one. and I owned it and I brought it because I thought it was bad. So we were all gonna watch it because we were just into watching like really bad
Mhm.
movies.
That vampire movie. Oh, Vampires Suck. That was it.
It was
Mm.
like a spoof, but at the same
Yeah.
time,
It was
really good.
bad in itself.
Yeah, it was called Vampires Suck.
We'll just do it so low budget. It's funny because it's bad.
It was made by the same people as Scary Movie.
Oh, okay. It was probably making fun of Twilight, honestly.
It was.
It was, but it was like not doing a good job. I feel like.
Ooh.
It's like a haunted house and Haunted House 2 or Scary Movie 5.
Or Monster House.
You know.
Monster House. That's a funny movie. My
Okay,
goodness.
no lie. I remember I was at my dad's house. We were watching Monster House, and like as a child, it was kind of scary. Not gonna lie. I had like nightmares about being swallowed by a house, like never escaping.
Dude, you know what scared me about that movie? It was the trailer for the video game that scared me.
There was
There
a
was a
video
video
game for it.
This is news?
I kept seeing the ad for the video game when I was young, and you just see the house just chasing you. It just scared me.
Monster
why.
House video game 2.8 out of 5 by GameStop. 4.7
2.8 out of 5? Ooh.
4.7 out of 10 from GameSpot.
Uh,
93% liked this video game.
There's
It was
like
made
bad
in
games out there.
it was made in 2006.
Jesus.
Here, I'm posting a video. You don't have to watch it now, but it's like a $200 game on Steam.
Oh yes, I saw that video.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw it because you
It's
like watch Critical sometimes. But
mm-hmm.
Super Fight, $200.
It's $200, and it was just one level. And it says tap to restart at the end.
It's like Steam is probably one of the better like clients on PC, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's like the Android App Store, like Google Play Store, I guess. Because like anyone could post something on there,
Yeah.
but it's still hard. It's still harder to post on Steam because you need like a developer license.
hmm
But at the same time, it's still easy enough to where one guy could make a one-level game, sell it for $200 on Steam, and like not get banned or anything.
Well, there's also like apps on the App Store where they're like $1,000 and you get like nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Oliver, do you have any stories you'd like to tell so we can get back on task?
We're talking about bad movies. Well, I remember Robert came in one time. We were watching Hermie, and he was just like dumbfounded. He was just like, he just couldn't fathom what we were doing.
He was just confused.
Yeah,
It was funny.
it was just pretty great.
People's reactions to the movies we watched was hilarious.
I felt bad sometimes because like there was one TV in the common room, so we were just always using it to watch like bad movies. It's like no one's really gaining anything.
We were forced to watch these movies.
Yeah.
Oliver, were you there when we watched what was it? Fanatic.
Remind me what that is. I feel
The
like I
John
remember.
Travolta.
John Travolta.
Oh yeah, I was. Yes, I was. That was
Uh,
the Winter Game.
That was
Do
fun.
you know what's funny? There was actually an Oscar campaign for it.
Think of John Travolta from like Grease.
Then you see the Fanatic.
It's crazy.
So
It's come
Alex,
so far.
Yes.
so let's just segue from movies for a minute and let's talk about actual camp stories. Alex, do you have any fun camp stories that you like to tell?
We have, I know we definitely have a few.
Oh yes.
So, so we'll go back to Zach's first year. So this, as Zach mentioned earlier, I was his area director and he was my CIT. And Zach's favorite thing, according to at least the amount of work that he ever did while he was there, was doing the dishes.
Oh yes.
And every time I would ask, I'd try to be a nice guy. I'd be like, you don't have to do this. And he's like, no, it's fine. And he would just keep doing them. So
You know, if
he was-
I had to, we just had to get it done. It's
he was the man of the dishes, a dish man, if you will. It
Ah.
was spectacular.
That's my last name.
Oh,
Wow.
The dish man.
preposterous.
What?
but yes,
It's almost like you made the
also,
joke for that
yeah.
reason.
It was that was the reason.
Way to
But
ruin it,
we yes.
Oliver.
Alright,
um,
sorry for interrupting. Just continue.
yeah, and then there was definitely a few other things that happened that year. I'm trying to remember if that year was the year of the door, or if that was 2017.
Um,
Um,
I think that was
Anyways,
it was my CIT year.
yeah, yeah, because I think it was Door of Shame 2016.
I have a question. What is the door of shame?
Do you not know this story?
I do not
He
know the
does not.
story.
Oh, this is before your time. Oh, wonderful.
Before
This
my
is going to be
time.
great.
I sound like a youngin.
Yeah, I don't even
Well,
remember.
you are. So,
Yes, sir.
okay. So this, yeah, Zach, I don't think you were in the bunkhouse for this
I
story.
was not. I was sleeping in a tent.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the last years of us still doing tents.
Yeah.
So, if those of you that remember someone that was on staff who is now a pastor or whatever, um, that year he among other things he had a taser or something like that on camp. Cannot confirm, um, but yeah. So we were sitting in our bunk, and as you do, you have the door closed so that conversations aren't heard by unwanting ears.
Hmm.
And so our door is closed, and someone tries to get up and get out of the door, and they're like, "I can't open the door." So they kept trying to open the door, and the door would like open a little bit, and it wouldn't move. So there are two versions to this story. I will tell
Okay.
you mine, and then I will tell you the one that apparently everybody else remembers. So my version of the story is I hear whoever it is trying to like open the door, and they can't get out of the door. So I
Hmm.
like get up, go over to check it out, see what's going on, and I like push my shoulder up against the door, kind of like to just see if I can push it open without banging into it or anything, and it's not opening. And
Okay.
I'm just thinking like someone's pushing against the door, like there's two or three people just like sitting there. So since I played football in high school, I just took a step back, lowered my shoulder, and tried to push really hard to jam the door open. And before I tell you what happened, I will tell you the other version of the story.
Okay.
According to, if you guys remember JR, JR was in that same bunk that year.
Oh yeah, I remember
Um,
JR.
yeah,
Okay.
JR is one of my best friends. We've been best friends since like third grade. Um, and so I trust him, but this is not how I remember the story. According to him, upon my hearing of the door being unable to open,
Hmm.
I jumped out of my bed, sprinted across an 8-foot room, which I don't know how you can sprint across an 8-foot room, but I did, and judo kicked the door down.
Oh, the
Um,
second story kind of sounds like cooler, but then again, why at the same time?
right. Yeah, like not a full drop kick where I go on the floor, but they thought I just ran up and like foot into door, like kicked it. Again, that's not how I remembered it, but you're gonna have to ask them. So the way it ended up was the entire door frame broke. The little part where the handle is that ripped a little bit.
Perseus, what are you
The
doing?
door frame completely, not like
Okay.
completely shattered in like a catastrophic way, but like it was enough that we had to replace it. And it turned out the reason it was stuck was because the person who is now a pastor, whose name I will not put on this just in case, he put a chair on the other side of the door to trap us in there.
Nice.
And it was a full nobody puts baby in a corner. And we both had to split the cost to repair the door. We were threatened to get our nights off taken away, but at that point I was ingratiated with management. We ended up not losing. I ended up not losing my night off. I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, that is the story of Door of Shame 2016.
That's hilarious.
Nice. David,
What's
so
up?
Talking about nights off getting taken away. Do you want to talk about a story like that?
I'm gonna save that for another time, honestly.
All right.
I'd like to save that for another time.
You want to say that for another time?
Everything getting destroyed.
Oh my goodness!
So
Like,
many stories of like things getting damaged. Like this one
Yeah.
kid brought a pogo stick into the bunkhouse, which the
That-
bunkhouse. I don't know if it's been said. It's kind of like a trailer home. But
yeah,
not-
we described that on episode
Alright.
1.
hmm
Alright,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but anyway, this kid thought jumping pogo stick or using a pogo stick would be a good idea. But you know the floor is really hollow, but you think I'm gonna say he just broke through the floor, which is not true. But he was jumping. There's like this little tile area, not really tile. I'm not sure. What that is
It was a fake tile. It was like
Yeah,
plastic.
it was.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was
just.
like
It was just.
laminate or something. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
rollout
yeah.
vinyl, really.
Anyway,
That's all it is.
Mm.
this kid was like pogo sticking, and then he slipped, and there's like a massive skid mark. He just slammed into the floor, loudest thing ever. Then, like to this day, there's like black skid marks.
There's just a black skid mark on the floor.
Yeah. Like
It's-
windows get broken every year, doors break every year.
Oh my goodness! I have a funny window broken story.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
So, oh gosh, was it my second year? Yeah, it was my second year. I was playing Guitar Hero with another person, and these two people were having a wrestling match in the middle of the bunkhouse, and I was just playing Guitar Hero with this person, and the next thing we hear is a shattering sound right next to us. We look over, and the window was just completely broken. It was just completely shattered on the ground. Oh my goodness. And I just continued playing Rocket League. No, God, did I just say Rocket League?
You didn't say Rocket League.
You did say Rocket
Don't
League.
get me on a
Rocket League
rant
the
about
mind.
Rocket League. My goodness.
Sorry. Yeah. We just continued playing Guitar Hero after that. Just immediately after. Like, okay, nothing happened. Usual stuff. Someone just broke a window.
Right?
It literally happens every year.
Yeah. Somebody threw a softball through a window. Remember that?
I remember. Yeah.
I thought that was a lacrosse ball, but
It's,
I don't know what it was. It was some type
was
of ball
some
going
type of
through
ball.
a window. And it's not even like a crazy story either. They were just being stupid and threw it out the window. Like that's literally the whole story. Like there was no anger.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was just like, huh, what would happen if we threw this ball
at the
And I-
window.
out the window?
I think everyone's.
It's not even like someone was sitting in like their bunk room bouncing it against the door, and then someone opened the door and it like just went through the window.
No, it wasn't even an accident. It was like, huh, let's see how much this window can take. Obviously not
Not
much.
much.
Yeah.
it's obviously just a window.
Oh god.
All right. Well, Alex, you are a guest on our show, so I'd like to ask you just a couple questions. So,
I didn't study.
that's fine.
It's alright. It's alright.
It's all right. It's all right.
I have
It's
the
not
cheat
hard
sheet.
questions. Oh,
Okay,
do you
okay.
type it in chat real quick? Anyways, Alex. So, from what I understand, over the years you've been on staff, you've always been at a different area. Is that true?
This is correct. Whether it be to personal choice or camp choice, I have never worked the same area twice. I have worked 5 years. My first year was in aquatics, or aquadix, if you will. My second year was in adventure camp, and then I was technically aquatics again for a week there at the end. But that's a story for whenever I come on as a second guest on another time. Third year was Scoutcraft, which was Zach's first year. And then my fourth year was arguably my worst summer on camp staff ever, Skills. The director, manager, coordinator, and everything. And then I had a year off, and this most recent year I was a range safety officer at Rifle.
Woohoo! That's where I got to meet you and interact with you the most. It was
Yes, this is where some of our shenanigans began.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans, and I can't think of another word right now.
So, how would you describe the variety between the types of people you meet and interact with from these different areas? You know, like How are the staffs different?
Uh, well, if we want to get into like stereotypes, the aquatics people, there's cliques within aquatics, because there's obviously you have your lake people and then you have your pool people. But even like within that, everybody kind of ends up breaking into their own like personal groups. But every area has that. You have the people that like you work with, and then you have the people you actually hang out with. So aquatics, like you could liken them to kind of the preppy sports people, like lacrosse players,
Yeah,
something like that.
they're just the
Um,
popular kids, really. That,
yeah, yeah,
that's just how it
usually.
is.
At least that's how it used to be. I feel like lately that might have changed,
Hmm.
but uh, and then what was the other one? Adventure Camp. Adventure Camp is very like close knit family, keep to themselves.
Hmm.
Mess with any of them, and you get the whole group kind of
Yeah.
people.
Also,
Yep.
they're much older. They're definitely much
Yeah,
older.
yeah, because you have to be 16 just to like help at staff camp, and you have to be 18 to really do anything
Hmm.
moderately dangerous there. Like you can work ground crew at 16, but that's it.
Yeah, putting on helmets and
Yeah,
gosh, what's
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah. All the safety check, the helmets and
Hmm.
harnesses, and
Harnesses. That's the word I was
yes,
thinking of.
the
I was
let's see,
thinking
what was the
hairnets.
fourth one? Oh yeah, yeah, helmets and hairnets. You can't have your hair getting in the helmet. It'd be
You know,
preposterous.
no lice. You know, lice
Yeah,
free.
true, true, true. I mean, lice I think can
No
get through a
hairnets.
hairnet, but who knows? The third year was Scoutcraft. Scoutcraft was varied in its own way because we had such a variety of people on staff that year. Between me, Zach, a guy named Christian, a guy named Bill, a guy named Tommy, and my for a few weeks co-director. I'm not going to say his name because we might talk bad about him later.
Hmm.
But
He
yeah,
was in my troop.
yeah, that group was kind of all over the place, but it came all pretty together, I would say. I still have, we got like area of the week or something one week. I still have that plaque somewhere, um, just because
Hmm.
skills. It was me, so it's not really a thing to say about that. And
Yeah, I
then
know with like
rifle,
skills, you have to like ask scoutmasters to teach the merit badges if I'm correct.
yeah, yeah. So with skills, at least with the way our department is, skills is life skills. So that was everything ranging from like photography to home repair to auto maintenance, it's painting, things like that. There was electronics and electricity in there
Oh,
also.
like trade. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah, like life skills,
yeah,
like
I
trade
guess.
school.
like trade school.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, but they also had chess in there because for
Hmm.
some reason chess ended up in there instead of handicraft like it should have been. But
Interesting.
Still there to
um,
this day.
they
Really?
still haven't moved it.
During winter camp, they didn't.
It's funny.
Well, because I remember my supervisor was like, "Chess shouldn't be here. We need to get this crap out of here." And then my supervisor left camp, so I guess that never happened. Um,
Are you talking
and
about
then
program B?
yes, or
Gotcha, gotcha.
no, adventure camp.
Got
Oh
it, got it.
yeah.
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 And then of course rifle is not quite like archery,
Hmm.
at least for when I was there. But it was me and I don't know if you guys are ever going to have him on, but it was me and Colton basically running rifle
Yeah,
with old directors, and it was basically me and Colton running the show. So it was just kind of redneck bullshit.
because he's. Oh. I was gonna say because he's shorter than you said far less desperate. I was like, oh. Oh.
Oh, that's a story for another episode. That's for the after hours podcast. If you go to our Patreon,
Absolutely. We got to set up a Patreon now. We'll. Oh
We
my
have to
50
goodness.
set up
cents.
the after hours podcast first off.
True.
That is a idea that we're working on in the
That's a
future.
coming. That's our stretch goal, for Patreon.
Yeah. If we get more than 100 views.
Yeah, go watch our podcast because that's how pod.
Yeah, go watch it. We'll do a face cam one day.
I'm gonna go buy one.
Oh, God. So yeah, the amount of variation from area to area is pretty noticeable.
That's true. It's true.
So, Oliver,
Yes.
Yes.
Oliver,
Seems that-
would you like to kind of go into what area you worked in and how many years you've worked on staff? Just let the viewers know, you know.
So originally I started working like 2016 when I was a CIT in 2016, and I put like aquatics down. So I don't know. I thought it would be cool. Then I decided that'd
Rip.
be stupid, like anyone would
Right.
think. So I switched it to the next best thing, which is ecology, which definitely not. But I think the first year was pretty nice. Like I mean, I feel like I was one of the better CITs because I'd actually like do my job, I guess. Clearly I was if I like got asked to come back. So was Zach and
Yeah.
everything like that. But yeah, ecology was chill. I liked it a lot. So like the next year when I was program counselor in 2017, I did ecology again. And to be honest, it was cool, but it was like kind of boring because like a lot of the merit badges are just like about nature, which is cool, but like at the same time it's really not. So
Yeah.
yeah, and after that I did STEM for the next 2 years. It's a total of like 4 years, I think. And yeah, I did like
Hey, Oliver, you just got out there. Would you like to talk again? My bad.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So I think I just talked about ecology. So anyway, so that's the first 2 years I did ecology. Then the next 2 years, plus like winter camps, I did STEM leadership. These are like two small areas, but they just fuse them into one. Even though it's like the content isn't exactly related,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So like STEM was chill. I taught like programming, merit badge, and like stuff like that, like game design, robotics. Which you'd think robotics would be fun, but it's actually terrible.
Oh no.
Like it's just horrible. But anyway,
Is it because of
yeah.
like the people that take it,
No,
or is
well,
the
like
merit badge itself?
sort of. Like you get all like the 12-year-old kids.
Yeah,
But I mean, I feel like I was really annoying when I was 12. So
Right.
I mean,
we all
but
were.
anyway, yeah, they normally take it. But the thing about robotics is like the kits we have are just really trash, and they're not sorted at all. No one really feels like sorting it because it would take like a long time. So kind of just we just throw them in the box.
Oh no.
And, so
I feel like if you sorted it, it would be all for nothing type of thing because
yeah,
it'd be
it would
messed
it
up
would probably
within
get
a week.
destroyed anyway by the kids, but
Yeah.
because I mean they were sorted when we bought them, obviously. But yeah, so as far as like
Lego Mindstorm.
yeah, it's like the older Lego Mindstorms that we have like one new kit, but like one's not enough to do anything with the class, so we kind of just mess around with it on free time. But for like ecology and STEM, like Alex was talking about, like, a different like type of people, I guess you could say, in the different groups. Ecology was kind of like I feel like it was somewhat like weird, 'cause, you had some kid there when I worked there. He had an obsession with making a whip himself. I don't know why.
Like he liked getting whipped, is what you're saying?
No,
Reason.
he
Like
like
not in
making
not in
whips.
water.
Oh, but say that's interesting to say the
Yeah.
least.
He would go outside and just like cast his pole into like the woods for some reason. Yeah, and then he made a whip. I got whipped with it because I was a CIT. That's what you do with CIT. You just beat him up. But
Not
yeah,
wrong.
ecology. I think it was a good place to start because it wasn't like overwhelming or anything. Type of people there are mostly weird people, but not exactly. We had the vegan there.
Mm,
Yeah,
I love the
uh,
vegan. I already said his name earlier, so
yeah, Danny. So yeah, Danny the vegan.
that sounded like a Danny DeVito joke. Like
That's
Danny
not what I meant,
DeVegan.
but yeah, I guess you could take it that way. STEM also has a bunch of weird people. I don't know. I feel like STEM's more weird.
I feel like ecology is more weird because not enough people sign up for ecology. So
That's
like,
true. So they just send people there. You're right.
hmm
So you get like all types of people there. STEM, like, I guess everyone who's there wants to be there. But I don't know. Relatively normal.
For like
Yeah.
areas like that, I feel like you just have to have like a passion for the subject type of thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Oliver, what do you think was the worst part of ecology?
Personally, I really hated Big Stump, which is like, it's like this mud hike you go on, or like you can go on, like people can sign up.
Is there we go. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Big Stump is a trail that in the camp that we work at usually, where it's a mud hike usually. Sometimes it's completely dry.
So yeah, you
Most of
basically
the time
just
it's muddy.
walk like 2 miles down like a dried up mud puddle to go to like a stump of a tree, like as the name suggests. It's pretty you know, it's not that exciting. The big thing for kids is they just like to throw mud at each other.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
It's
annoying
just-
because like when you work at ecology, I think they did Big Stump, I think 3 out of 5 days, nights. But I remember my day to take the troops was Wednesday.
Mhm.
Not that that matters, but you just have to like leave whatever you're doing at like 7 p.m. back at staff camp, just chilling. But then you just have to
Ecology.
leave all of a sudden. Like go stand in front of this building. Normally the troops are late. I don't know why, but that's just normally how it went. You just walk through the dark, like well, it's like sunset, I guess. They just like walk through the mud for like 2 hours, then come back. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's honestly that was like probably the worst thing.
I feel like for me, Big Stump was cool the first time, and then after that, I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm not doing that ever again.
Yeah, it's like a one-time thing.
Yeah, I went with my troop when we came in
I
like
completely
2015.
hated it. One
I
Oops.
thought it was
It's
fun.
like-
I just hated like having to throw away all the clothes. Like,
Well, when I
Yeah,
was
I guess if you're
when
having
I
to go
went
through
on
and like
it,
clean
I
it
was-
up, that's annoying.
yeah, when I went on it, I was like 280 pounds or something like that. So maybe that could be the answer. Yeah.
yeah, and then you get like bit by mosquitoes. It's just, I mean, it's cool, I guess, but it's really
Mhm.
not.
It's a fun one-time experience.
Yeah, so if you have the opportunity to do it, you should do it at least once.
Mhm. Um, Alex, do you have any stories before we wrap up?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Yeah, you can just spit them out. Not like
Yeah, so
literally
the
spit
first
'em.
one is. Hold on. Sorry.
True.
Fine.
So the first one is from my first year. So this was a year with me and you guys know, obviously you guys know who Bubba is.
Yes, sir.
If you know anything about me and Bubba, you know that we love our football video games. So none of you were here for this year, so this is the first time you guys are going to hear of this. Um, every summer, so like our first couple summers that we were there, we would make what they called Dynasty. So if any of you guys ever played NCAA 14, the last
Yeah.
one to come out, praise to the best football game ever made for its time.
Oh my goodness, dude, I love that game, like with a burning passion. Go Florida State Seminoles, honestly.
We can talk about that later.
Knowles fan.
But so eventually, what would happen is Bub and I we would go through and we would play our games. It was on the same system, so we would take our turns, on the little bit of downtime that we had. I worked aquatics, so we didn't have much. A lot of times we would play on the weekends
Mhm.
and go through like half a season in a day. And the way it would always work is we would take some low school that wasn't very good and try to get them to the national championship. Because if we played with good teams, it was just too easy for us because we had played the game so much at that point. We knew all the
Absolutely,
ins and
yeah.
outs and all the cheese and everything.
So like the
Um,
Seminoles.
Yikes.
No, I'm talking like the University of South Alabama, like that level, like
First
Sun
time hearing
Belt,
about that.
Sun Belt team. Yeah, exactly. That was the point. That was
New
like their
Hampshire
first year.
State Tech.
Yeah, something like that. Well, our other favorite thing to do was to make team builder teams back when you could do that before EA decided to change things. But anyways, the whole point of the story is he and I would always get to the national championship against each other once we played enough seasons that our schools got enough respect to actually get there. Because this was before they had the college football playoff. This was back in the BCS days. So every year or every like couple of weekends we would get there, we would get to the national championship. It would be a big deal. And he and I get very animated when we play against each other. And it's always funny because we're never yelling at each other. We're always yelling at the game. Because the game would always do something stupid. And the way it got to the point for a little while, it was basically whoever had the ball last is the one who would win. Or whoever like was up at halftime or whatever. Just it was really like a toss up at that point because we'd played for so long.
Mhm.
So we were in our like second or third national championship against each other that summer. This is week 5 or 6. You know, we're stressed out from camp. It's a Saturday, and people had gotten wind of how entertaining it was, not necessarily to watch the game, but to watch us play the game. And we had, you know, probably a crowd of 8 or 10 people there on the weekend. We're playing our game. It's late, like fourth quarter. He's down like 3. He's driving the ball, driving. He gets in the red zone, and there's like a minute left, and he throws an interception.
Oh no.
And yeah, so like I'm ecstatic, so I hop out of my chair and like sprint down the hallway. This is in a bunkhouse too, to give you guys a picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on the left side, so I can get to the hallway. So I like sprint down the hallway, and then as I'm sprinting back, a metal chair comes flying down the hallway, hitting me in the foot. So apparently, in a fit of rage, Bubba took the chair, not knowing I was coming back down the hallway, just threw it to the side, and it clipped me right on the ankle bone.
Oh.
Like, took me out. I'm
Dude.
talking scooter to the shin level pain.
Buddy.
I am on the floor. I'm so happy, but I'm in so much pain, crying. And he's just like, oh my god, I'm so mad at the game, but I wasn't mad at you. And just full me and Bubba nonsense, which if you have ever seen, you know is a sight to behold.
Oh yeah. I've been there a couple times. Only a few.
That is... Oh, that was... I think that was the point where we decided that we weren't going to play that game at camp anymore. Because it eventually led to personal injury.
Play
Those
it
little
over
chairs.
Xbox Party or chat or whatever.
Yeah, now when we play, we don't play in the same room. We don't play at each other's house. Like, we're each at our own houses. We play on. We don't have the headsets on. It's just, Snapchat each other if we need to say anything.
Snapchats angrily.
Yeah, those metal chairs are like a lethal weapon. There's like,
And they're completely rusted.
yeah, like this one kid at winter camp every year. Yeah, Justin. It was just like, I don't know, it was like a ritual for him to just like beat people up with the chair.
Oh
Not
my
sure
goodness.
why, but I
It's-
think everyone who's lived in Bunkhouse 1 during winter camp has been hit by the chair.
I have not.
Yeah, I guess you're just lucky.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm lucky.
Justin's
Your time will come.
I'm waiting for it.
Justin's a listener of the show, so I think we can say his name. Also, the name Justin can be applied to anybody.
Yeah.
There's like 4 Justins working there. So
True. Anyways, yeah, I've been hit by the chair. It's interesting to say the least.
Not
well,
fun,
you
huh?
deserved it anyways.
True, I always deserve a good beating, you know.
You deserve anything. So
Wow. Well, let's end on a high note then. So that's gonna be the final statement of the show, I think. You know.
all right.
Alrighty.
Do you guys have anything to say before we wrap up?
Thank you for having me. I don't know.
Drink
I don't
water.
know. Drink water.
Drink water.
Gatorade.
Okay.
Fine, Oliver. Steal my thunder like that. My goodness.
I think I just added to your thunder.
All right. So, thank you, Austin, for being on the show. Oh wait.
Oh wait,
Uh,
he didn't show up. Oh, he didn't show up on time. Oh man, he's gonna listen back to this. He's gonna be like, guys, I hate you.
Thank you, Alex, for being on the show.
Of course.
I
Hope
love
to be back
you.
again. Oh, I love you too,
Oh,
buddy.
absolutely gonna have
My
you guys
first CIT.
back on the show.
Yes, my first area director.
Oh, it was always a special bond.
Yes. Oliver, thank you for being on my show. On the show, not my show.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Are we gonna
Oh,
get
it's
into
in
this
mine.
right now?
It's our show.
Come on, guys. That's you talk about that in the intro, not at the end.
Right. All right.
Anyway,
Yep.
yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun. I'd like to do it again sometime. Who knows?
If
Let
you-
me know. You want me on?
Yep.
All right,
I will.
guys.
I'll
We'll see
text
you
you.
next time. Peace.
Plenty
Also,
more stories to tell.
Please. Yeah, there's plenty more. Go on for
Plenty
like
more.
hours.
David, you ready for the outro right here? I gotta.
I thought yeah. Continue.
All right. You ready for this outro?
Go for it.
I would like to thank my mom and my dad for birthing me.